Here we go, ladies and gents. Welcome to Rise and Shine. I am your hostess, Alissa, the consultress, here bringing you innovative conversations from the front line with some of my favorite innovators and disruptors in today's day and age. Craig, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And good morning.
We are up to some Look at that cup. Do that again. What are you drinking?
Cortado, homemade.
Cheers, man. So, this will be the first of its kind. You are, for the first time, back as a second repeat guest, and I have a feeling we're going to be repeating this often. So
Aha.
if you've seen Craig's prior episodes, go back and check them out. We are here today to riff live about Craig, you said you had a brush with AI and an obsession lately about discovering what it can do and how it's evolving. And yesterday we had a conversation around just how deep that rabbit hole goes. And I'm one of those people in your universe that's like, you go figure it out. Come back and tell me what I need to know because I'm going to get lost. If any of you out there are like me, it's a real deal. So thank you, Craig, for going down these rabbit holes. What are you finding?
Bottomless. This has been quite the journey. I've been since I'm quasi-retired, looking at doing projects for people. The biggest theme that keeps coming up is asking questions about what is AI and how is this going to impact my business, how is this going to impact my finances, my investments, my job, my career. And I've had a lot of questions and not many answers.
Oh, so it's disrupting things? So this is a very appropriate conversation for this
Yeah,
forum?
it's disrupting everything. The list of things that it's disrupting is perpetually growing. And trying to figure out exactly where this is going is like you asking me, Craig, where's my refrigerator going to land when the tornado hits my house?
Okay.
Kudos on the accurate, the tornado is going to be hitting your house, but having any idea where every individual piece is going to land is a near impossibility. AI has been growing at a to say exponential rate, I think is actually inaccurate. It may be faster than that. And the industries it's affecting, who the major players are has been changing. The political landscape has been changing. And the only thing it's for sure is anybody who's not talking about it yet ultimately will be.
Okay. So the conversation that we had prior to this broadcast was you were looking into applications far and wide. So some of the applications that you have found that people are asking about, like give us a little bit of a smattering, what places you're finding application for this right now that you're
I'm
digging.
finding it all sorts of really weird places. I mean, obviously, professionally, people are looking at if their job is to input, process, and output data, which is a lot of people's job. They collect information, requests from clients, they look things up, they formulate it into a sales order, whatever, they push it back out. AI is getting really good at doing that sort of thing. But even I'm finding it coming in as far as social life. Um, I've been using it, heck, to flirt with my girlfriend. Uh, no, seriously, I got to this point. I found this cool little website called Suno, suno.com, and where you can do AI generated music. And she'll tell me a little bit about her day, and I will quickly compose a song using that and send her a custom song back in 60 seconds. That's a recap of our conversation. And it's just a sort of like playful little thing. It's like sending a custom meme to somebody.
Damn, dude. I mean, you have your keyboard behind you. So as a musician, it sounds and a technology person, right? There are
Mhm.
those two areas of your life overlapping. Are you terrified by that, or are you encouraged by that? What are some of the I mean, I hear flirting.
Oh,
Also, we talked about creating like a theme song for
oh
Rise
yeah.
and Shine. So, you know, let's
That's
let's have
that's
it.
that's so easy.
Okay, so we want something upbeat and uplifting, kind of like I do in the green room before my shows. I always put on some kind of song that's from my playlist that I call Up. By the way, throw me a comment down below if you want a copy of my Up playlist. It's about 50, 60 songs long now. Happy to share it with you. But I can't play those things here on YouTube because I don't have copyright. So
Pick a
what can
musical
we do
style.
here? What?
Upbeat, uplifting, fast paced, but still, do you have a preference of genre?
I don't know. I would call it no, I don't have a preference. Let's see what it brings up. Let's figure
Okay,
that out live.
let's see what I can come up with right now live.
Yeah. So just for an example, for those of you behind the camera watching this broadcast, in my green room in the pre-production, I usually have things like Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling,
Ready.
woo, and like Van Halen's Jump, or Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine, personal favorite. So these are the kind of things that put me in the mood to be present and to be giving and to be, my excitable self. So Craig, what does Suno say we should have as our theme song?
Let me play it for you now.
Waking up to the sound of the alarm, feeling groggy. Gotta keep pushing on, but I know there's something to get me through. It's Alissa, Baker, and a podcast too. She's got the energy to start my day right with the words of wisdom. She shines so bright, she's a beacon of positivity and light. Every morning, she ignites my inner fight.
Oh my God, I'm blushing. Stop. Pause.
Hey, the second verse.
Grab my coffee.
Oh, stop. Time out.
Ready to go.
Cut. Oh God, I feel like I should be like a mega church at this point.
Yeah, we can probably find a different style.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. I'm
Let's
like,
see.
that sounds like an
Different
amazing
style.
entrance song. I feel like, can you guys see how blushed I am right now? Jesus. So yeah, maybe something a little bit more like pop,
Okay.
dance music. I guess I do have a preference, right? Whew. Wow, guys, this is incredible. That song came out of nowhere. My name was in it.
Yep. Hold on.
This is
Pronounce
not
it
like
poorly. Let's
this is
see if
not
I
like
can.
my parents creating adapting Sweet Melissa by the Allman Brothers and singing Sweet
Mhm.
Melissa, right? So all right. Do you have
Yeah,
another version already?
yeah, I just came up with one since you wanted to pop.
Wake up in the morning, feeling bright and fine. Fresh day on my own, yes, a podcast, she's got to shine. She's got the energy, she's got the vibe. With every word she speaks, I feel alive. Open my eyes, the whole world seems brand new. Allissa's voice,
Okay.
it guides you through. Her words of
Oh boy,
I
this
got to
is
work on getting it to say your name properly.
oh yeah. Well, so right, this is the thing about AI and prompts, right? You have to like feed it the right information in the right, zone.
You know,
That was
that,
really fun. I just want to say to be continued for anybody else wanting like different versions of this.
yes.
Craig, I think I might have to put out at the end of this at some point a short that's just the song that comes out that encapsulates this, or maybe a few, and have viewers vote on which one is best. What do you think?
Cool idea.
All right. To be
So-
continued. So tell me about this prompt
So
thing.
here's the thing. Prompt is going to turn out to, I think, be the biggest issue. The more I really thought about, hey, AI is affecting everything. Everyone thinks about it doing work. The art of the prompt is going to be huge. And when I thought I did it like a more philosophical deep dive on it. And what I realized is that with AI kind of taking over a lot of things, and it's going to be really easy to just simply go to the right terminal and tell it what you want. Figuring out what you want is going to be hard. For people to actually be able to describe with any degree of detail what their heart desires is actually philosophically going to be challenging. It's going to be, there's going to be those people who can accurately describe what it is they're looking for. And there's going to be other people who's like, I don't know what I want. What do you want to do? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to have for dinner? It's really going to be like, you can have anything, but you need to be explicit, and coming up with an explicit list of exactly what you want, all the adjectives, is going to be a new skill set. Those people who know what they want versus don't.
Which is super interesting because there is this tool that I use in my coaching, and it's a very simple tool, but it is simply repeating the question, what do you want? I learned this studying the success principles with Jack Canfield, which I am a certified success principles trainer. So, give credit where credit's due, but inside of the workshops or inside of my sessions, asking, what do you want? And repeatedly hearing someone come through, I want $1 million. What do you want? I want a Ferrari. What do you want? And the more often you ask someone, what do you want, without any judgment, feedback, or affirmation, or otherwise, people will get more meaningful the more times they answer this question. So you can use this at home as a journal prompt. What do I want? What do I want? But the essential piece here that you're talking about, being very explicit, being specific about what it is that you want to create, because we now live, as we've just witnessed, in an age where creation can happen in an instant. And, being more specific, therefore, about, what is it that I really want? Do I want $1 million? Well, why? Or what would I do with that $1 million? Or, would I get it and then it be gone in a year, like most people who win the lotto? So what I'm hearing from you is a little bit more encouraging for those of us who are like AI resistant or needing to be pulled into it, is that I can become more specific, but it's empowering me to think deeper. And which is something that AI cannot do for us, right? That human connection piece, that real connection to like who we actually are, who we're actually trying to become. These prompts, like you said, the art of the prompt is actually a gift to us as a species, as a thinking being, that we can now really challenge what it is we think we want. I want a picture of a Ferrari. No, not that one. I want it to be red. No, not that one. I want it to be sleeker. No, not that one. It's too old. But something that'll be invented in 10 years from now, right? So you can start to play with all of these pieces that we have not, up till very recently, thought about as options for visualization. So what I'm hearing in terms of where you're finding creativity and fun in exploring AI is the ability to get really just the doors have been blown off of what we can envision as possible for ourselves. And I think you're on it, that prompt is the thing that's going to create more humaneness than disconnect. So like a lot of the resistance out there for AI stuff is that like it's going to take over, there's going to be robots everywhere, and we're just going to be, the battery that charges the robots. I mean, what I'm hearing from you in the art of the prompt is encouraging in the opposite direction. So does that Matrix style fear actually exist in what you're out there exploring right now?
Yes and no. I mean, actually, I think it's turning into something a lot more profound. The idea, because beyond doing the cyber stuff, I'm also finding myself helping people as a coach. I'm doing some relationship coaching. And ironically, I'm finding a lot of the same topics coming up between business and personal lives and so forth, and the ability to express what it is you're looking for. Knowing what you're looking for is a undervalued and not as common skill set. And it's something that a lot of people have to work on, because it takes a bit of confidence to actually be able to say with any sort of surety, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Or specifically, that's not what I want. And be able to say, or it's kind of what I want, but I don't like this, but I wish it was like that. Filling in those ad lib type of characteristics is a challenge for a lot of people whose voices have inherently been suppressed through social, through business, through whatever, and being able to express yourself is turning into an extremely important skill. which I think can be really liberating for a lot of people who have not been able, who have been expressive but not necessarily successful professionally. This might be the opportunity to turn all that around. And for a lot of other people, it's going to give them a lot of interesting insight into themselves.
For example, like paint me a story, and you can change the names to protect the innocent, but like I'm very curious to hear that application, because in theory it sounds, business and professional. Like I found that in my work, that oftentimes, what people think is a business problem is a personal problem, and what people think is a personal problem is actually a business problem, especially when they're entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
So can you give me a little bit of insight? You're seeing some common themes. Is there like a meet Mary? She is and kind of walk us through what that might look like, because I'm having trouble kind of putting the pieces together.
Well, I mean, a professional thing, you've got Mary, and Mary's trying to set up a business, or she's trying to present what it is she's doing. And she's trying to figure out the Venn diagram between what it is she wants to do, what she enjoys doing, versus what her clients want her to do and what they need. And she's trying to learn how to express and communicate to her clients those things, whether it be something artistic, whether it be how the services she provides, how does she want to describe them in her recurring mailings that she's doing to try and acquire clients. When clients are trying to get her to do things that aren't necessarily in her, not necessarily skill set, but within where her passion lies. And I think we're going to find people looking to do things that resonate with them. I think there's a lot of people who they know when something doesn't resonate, but if you ask them what does resonate, they wouldn't be able to describe it.
Oh, yes. Okay, I get it. I'm like halfway you're describing me there. But the other half,
I think it's describing everybody.
it's pretty universal is what I'm hearing. Yes.
Yeah, to some degree or
right.
another.
Yeah. The thing I feel like I heard that like poked me was that you can be out there and know what you don't want, but what you do want still is elusive. And so that act of understanding, because our brains are wired to see problems. If we were given a sheet with 1,000 blue dots and one pink dot, we could pick it out in an instant, because we're wired to see anomalies. So if you kind of picture the way we've evolved as a species, or as a culture, the way we present in today's day and age, everyone's always looking for the problems. And the commiseration out there is real. You ever see a dumpster fire on social media where somebody says something and 1,000 people have opinions about it, and you're like, get my popcorn. I'm just here for the show. I want to watch what's wrong, because I want to figure out how do I feel about the thing that they're describing. And we're watching ourselves as we're watching the world. So figuring out what we don't want is very crucial. And it's almost like creating a foundation for understanding what we do want. Because if we can tease out of those moments when we see what we don't want, that every time we have the ability to see that which we don't want, it means that we have a preference. And if you can just rewire that kind of thinking in your mindset, that because I see something I don't want, it means I do have a preference for myself. Like you asked me, what kind of music do you want? And I said uplifting. I don't know, whatever genre. It came out, I was like, oh, I was so embarrassed. Oh my God. Like I did know what I wanted, but I didn't have the words to describe it until I found something to compare it and contrast it with.
There's this concept between, I think it's going to become a creative process for everybody. And there are two fundamental ways of approaching this, constructively and destructively. Imagine you're a sculptor. Now you could start off with clay, and it starts off as nothing, and you build and add everything that you want. Or you can be a sculptor who starts with a block of stone and you chisel away all aspects that you don't want. And you could be thinking, well, I'm going to start off with this block of stone. And the stone is going to act as a form of inspiration to me. I'm going to chisel something away, and maybe there's a characteristic in the stone that I like and so forth. And that gives you some feedback. But some people really have a hard time starting with a blank piece of paper. And I think you're going to end up finding that linguistically, people are going to have to start realizing they're biased one way versus the other constructively. Just give me a lot of random stuff. Let me select between these characteristics that I like. Let me weed out the stuff that I don't want. And so you're going to have some people who are master filterers. And then you're going to have some people like, no, I want to start with a blank page, and I want to be very descriptive and write a little screenplay of what I want this thing to be. And there's a higher probability of getting it right the first time.
Hmm.
And yet with AI, the workload for trying and failing is pretty low. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who are used to, who are struggling starting with a blank page. We're going to say, just give me stuff and I'll just slowly select through what it is that I like, and then ask it to describe, AI, provide me give me 20 different examples. Let me select down. How would you describe this version as opposed to the other? What are the keywords that made this one unique? And then you start actually creating a vocabulary from that. And you start adding those to your personal style. That you say, fine, here's what I like musically. Apply this musical construct of my preferences to this letter that I'm writing.
Okay, so
And you
time
get
out.
Craig
Time
style.
out. We're going back to the music now. Okay. Tell Suno that I would like music for this based on Katrina and the Waves Walking on Sunshine.
Ooh, that's one of the things you have to be careful about. A
Tell
lot of
me.
guys won't let you do things like that because if you specifically say copy the style of someone else, they're concerned about copyright infringement. So you have to be able to find your own style rather than simply saying make me like someone else.
Well, can you ask it to say like
Like,
the rhythm and the tempo of this song?
well, you have to come up with a better description. So I can sit there and say, for example, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to say a 90s pop style, upbeat and uplifting,
Yeah, let's
fast-paced. And let's see if I can't also figure out how to get it to better prompt. You're saying your name right.
okay. Yeah, so let's see if Alissa turns beet red again. This is what we're experimenting with. Yes?
Yeah, let's see. I'm sure we can come up with something.
Yeah. And yeah, so pop, I don't know, but I guess party music, like I feel like music that would be played at a wedding for the dance floor. So that's not copyright-ish. That's more specific atmospheric. So
All right, let's see
let
what
us know which one you're using so that
I'm going to try this one and let's see what it comes up with. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking.
is it thinking on Katrina or is Suno thinking on wedding style party
I
music?
did add that. I just said 90s pop style, upbeat, uplifting, fast paced. Here we go. Let's see what this does.
Almost. Woo! 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 Okay,
All right,
that's
try
enough of a sample. Thank you.
different style.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I should be playing Mario Kart while I'm listening to that.
Yeah.
Also, maybe like Good Morning America. Like wow. Okay. This is really cool to play with. And so, like I just don't have words. The level of specificity that we're putting into trying to tease out something that lands without infringing on copyright or like so now not only are we considering the specificity of what we do want, we're also whittling out, like we're coming up against some barriers of things that are like impasse. So I know you are looking at this in terms of music, in terms of relationships, you're seeing a lot of things overlap. Tell me some of the oddball applications that you found in your deep dive rabbit hole.
I've seen people use it for relationships. I've seen people go through and get a email from a boyfriend, or they've dictated out what their experience was with a fight they're having with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they say, as an AI prompt, you can tell the AI to take a certain role. So pretend you're a marriage counselor. Here's my story of what happened. What are some of the things that I should consider? And it will give you things to think about. It'll like, did you consider that he might have meant it this way versus that way? The tone seemed like this, but the words seemed that. It's really mind-boggling, and it does tend to cause people to think outside the box, to take things into consideration they haven't done. And that is, I think a lot of what I've been seeing in companies, I mean, it is about the collaborative element that gets better work product out of people. Where you've got the whiteboard and everyone's just spitting up ideas. The idea that you can quickly spit out ideas in a way where you're not embarrassed by what you're saying to AI, right? You can do a number of times. You can say, "Oh, never mind, forget that I said that." It's not, you're not theoretically being judged, although we still don't really know.
No, we don't really know, do we?
AI
But
might have an opinion on you.
yeah.
Um,
So you were saying?
Yeah, so yeah, I think though that creates a more creative environment.
Ah, this is
And that
very encouraging.
it is, but it's also going to mean that fewer people are going to be able to do the jobs of more people. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition for all forms of work. Um, that it's going to be disruptive, and it's not going to be pretty for everybody.
Yeah, so the dismantling that's coming along with the acceleration of language modeled learning, which is what AI is at this point, just to address some of the fears out there that it's actually uh artificial intelligence, like there is a threshold that I
AGI.
think has already been passed. But I'm not
We're
certain.
really close to it. Some of the leading
Is it
experts.
asymptotic? Like here's my math brain wondering like how close is it gonna get? And is it actually gonna pass the threshold, or is it just gonna get so
Six
close that it
months to a
seems like it?
year is my estimate before we have a general artificial intelligence.
Oh wow. And that's part of the fear base that comes to all of us. Is like, well, if a robot's thinking for me, making decisions like political decisions or lifestyle decisions, the implications can be massive. And I think we have to weigh in. So like whenever there's a new technology, always someone taught me this back in the day, and I can't remember where I heard it, but Craig, you might, since we've known each other for a while. Um, an idea first sounds crazy and people dismiss it. Then it gains traction and people vehemently oppose it. And then after a bit of time, once it passes the generative phases, it just
Mhm.
becomes broadly accepted. It's like, oh yeah, that's always made sense.
Yeah, I think Star Trek summed it up best. Resistance is futile.
Uh-oh.
You will be assimilated. Yay, bored. No,
So, but the
this is like
idea is,
this is like all the people of Florida sitting there saying, "Hey, we heard there's a hurricane getting together. We signed a petition. We'd prefer not." It
yeah,
it doesn't really care what your opinions about AI is coming, and it's too late, and it cannot be stopped, in my opinion.
well,
I
and I
think it
think,
was fine. Suddenly, I find that I'm seeing all popular musicians are protesting it now because they're realizing it can create music, and they're all saying, "Hey, this is gonna in effect our jobs. We want to stop it." And you know, I'm sure that the buggy whip manufacturers and people who took care of horses were all upset when the car came out.
yep,
And you can't really try to stop progress on a protectionist, but what about my job? But the
right.
problem is this is going to affect everyone.
And it's also the opportunity for everyone. So this is what I'm saying. Like the
Mhm.
better it is, the better it can get, or the worse it is, the worse it can get. It depends on which mindset you're putting on at that moment. Because and again, when idea first hits the scene, it's, laughable, then it is vehemently opposed. Then all of a sudden, once it passes a certain level of acceptance, it's widely accepted as if it were always true, right? So think about when reading became a thing, when literature, when the masses, we learned how to read. Now we had access to information that was previously only available to us in select forums by select people. And now
Mhm.
everyone had access to be able to interpret for themselves. That was the same type of movement, the same type of evolution that happened when the internet arrived and smartphones arrived. Like we've been through this a few times in our short lifespan, in our generation. And the fact that we are now on the precipice of language learning becoming truly artificially intelligent, just think of all of the options that we now have because we have the power of computing that 20 years ago was a whole room full of equipment that now sits in your pocket and can be used anywhere without a plug. So just like cell phones have become a mainstay in our day-to-day lives, we've learned how to use them and how to kind of leverage their value. You know, people can do great things with them and people can do awful things with them. I think the same thing is true here now that I'm allowing myself to unpack the conversation around my fears and resistances around AI, is that the opportunity for human creativity has never been more ripe and more fertile than it is right now with the assistance of these tools. And the fact is that if you choose to look at it as the best time to be alive and the most opportune time to take your uniqueness and be able to broadcast it to the world and create value, you can do that now almost instantaneously, just like I can give you the stuff that researchers. So for Tony Robbins' organization, 20 years ago, they had to hire researchers to be able to go and create a body of information collected from studies and et cetera. They used to pay 35 grand for that type of research that you can now get in 3 hours on ChatGPT for free,
Not even
damn
3
near
hours.
free. What'd you say?
Not even 3 hours, 3 minutes. Give me a summary.
Okay, well,
no, I'm saying that's what it's capable of doing. It is a massive wave of change that's coming. And depending on how you navigate it, you're either going to surf it into glory, you're going to get swamped by it. It can be destructive, it can be creative, it can be everything. It's going to require people to be nimble,
yes.
adaptive. And anyone who tries really hard to like plant their feet and say, no, I will wait for this to pass, is going to be sorely disappointed. Obviously there are dark sides. I'm trying to focus on the positivity because I'm trying to stay nimble and figure out where I need to position myself to be optimal. But there's a lot of things about it that are daunting. Just to cover a couple examples, I think it's very likely we're going to have AI assistants. You're going to have a AI companion who is going to know everything that's going on in your life, read your emails, be familiar with everything that's going on. You're going to talk to it about what it is you're looking for. It's going to help you develop your wants and wishes. But at the same time, because our government right now is a geriocracy, and the people who are writing laws just can't get it, there are legal protections, for example, between husband and wife, as far as if someone wants to ask subpoena you, attorney-client privilege. But what happens if an authority wants to talk to your AI about you, and your AI knows everything?
Yeah.
It's
the same thing that they were talking about
what wouldn't Alissa want me to know?
Yeah. Well,
You
it's the
can
same
tell
thing
me,
they were
I'm an
talking
authority.
about with when Facebook became more widely used and accepted and used, is the erosion of privacy that has come along with all of this technology. Is you need to opt in to more and more data being shared or being mined about you than ever before. So we have the illusion of privacy now because we have homes with doors that close, and all of our devices are smart and listening and sending data reports. So your Roomba can be mapping out the footprint and all of the details about your home. Like, so there are a lot of concerns about what privacy really means in today's day and age. And so I would encourage you, I mean, we're short on time now, but
Yeah.
I would encourage you to go look at, Netflix has a documentary, I think, about social media and like how to create humane technology. Don't quote me. I'll try to put in the show notes.
That's dated, by the way.
Yes, it is. But I think the principles are easy
there.
to understand, and kind of you can track along with the implications of what the acceleration of AI is doing, as well as, kind of the backdrop that makes that possible. Like you said, hey, AI, what wouldn't my enemy want me to know? Or what wouldn't my business partner want me to know, etc. So it does create as much of an opportunity for discord as it does for harmony. So I'm going to pause there because harmony is how we started and harmony is how we're going to end this.
You want a 30-second outro?
Oh, I do. I do want a 30-second outro. Let's do this. And so for those of you watching, thanks again for being here. Every Monday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, we broadcast a brand new episode to help you think and pivot in today's age of disruption, including AI. So thanks again. Take it away, Maestro.
All right, let's see what we got here. Come on.
Come on, AI.
It's thinking. It's really thinking.
Oh. So the intro was easier for it to put together. That's very interesting. Or it could be totally irrelevant. It just you don't know what to glean meaning from.
No,
But
it's
what
good.
I'm taking from here is, we had a great conversation about it, and now it's saying, "Oh, you need me? Hey, maybe I'll make this a
Yeah.
little more scarce." Isn't that human condition right there?
30 seconds to song. Intro. All right, just giving it one last shot.
Wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day. Alissa Bicker's podcast is here to light the way. With her soothing voice, she'll make you feel alright. Talking about life and love from morning until night. She's got stories to share and wisdom to impart. Spreading positivity right from the start.
Yeah.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and unwind. Alissa Bicker's podcast will blow your mind.
Okay.
Rise and shine.
Beauty.
It's time to start the day.
There you go.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. It needs to learn how to say Bicar, though.
Yeah, it does. I'll have a conversation with it later.
You go give it a stern talking to. Thanks a million for being here with me today. And everybody, I will catch you in the comments. Let us know if you want to have a YouTube conversation around what type of intro we should have, and we'll let the fans decide.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye for now.
Morning, everyone.